Welcome today in new adventure audiobooks. Beyond the silent mountain, the signal expanded. Every night at exactly 2:17 a.m., the signal returned. Not 2:16, not 2:18, always the same second. Lena Carter had tested it for weeks. Different devices, different antennas, different locations, but the result never changed. A low-frequency pulse, hidden deep inside the noise of the electromagnetic spectrum. Too weak for normal radios. Too structured to be natural. It wasn't coming from space. It wasn't coming from Earth either. It was coming from a place that technically didn't exist. Lena leaned closer to her screen, eyes tired, coffee untouched. On the digital map, the coordinates pointed to a blank area, an unregistered mountain range between two officially mapped regions. No name, no data, no history, just white space. She whispered to herself, "Nothing exists here, so why are you calling?" The signal pulsed again, slow, steady, almost like breathing. For the first time in her career, Lena felt something she couldn't explain. Not curiosity, not fear, recognition, as if something, somewhere, had finally found her. Why Lena heard it, Lena wasn't special. At least, she never believed she was. She grew up in a small town in Oregon, the kind of place where nothing ever happened and nobody ever left. Her father was a radio engineer. Her mother was a night shift nurse. When Lena was 8 years old, her father disappeared during a storm while repairing a transmission tower. They never found the body. Only his radio, still powered on, still transmitting static. After that, Lena became obsessed with signals. Not because of science, because of hope. Hope that one day she would hear something again. A voice, a pattern, a sign. And now, after all these years, something was finally answering. Mark's warning. Mark noticed her behavior before she said anything. "You haven't slept in 3 days, he said. Lena didn't look up from her screen. "It's not noise, Mark. This thing is structured. Look at the harmonics." Mark sighed. "You see structure in everything. That's your job." "No," she replied quietly. "This one sees me back." Mark frowned. "What?" Lena turned the monitor. The waveform had changed. It wasn't repeating anymore. It was responding, adjusting itself based on her listening patterns. Almost like it knew she was there. Mark stepped back slowly. "That's impossible," Lena whispered. "So was every discovery, before it happened. The blank zone officially, the location didn't exist. Satellite data showed nothing. Military maps were censored. Civil aviation routes avoided it completely. It was called an anomaly exclusion zone. A polite term for, we don't talk about this place." Lena submitted a private expedition request. It was rejected. She submitted another. Rejected again. So she did what scientists sometimes do when science says no. She ignored it. The flight, the helicopter ride, lasted 4 hours. No turbulence. No radio. No GPS. The clouds grew thicker as they approached the coordinates. Then the pilot's instruments began to fail. Altitude flickered. Compass spun. Radar went black. The pilot swallowed. "I've flown through storms, wars, even space missions," he said. "But I've never flown into nothing." The mountain appeared suddenly. No gradual rise. No visible foothills. Just there. Massive. Vertical. Silent. Like reality forgot to render the rest. "This is it," the pilot whispered. He refused to go closer. Lena strapped on her pack. The signal in her receiver was now deafening. Not loud. Clear. Perfect. She jumped. The landing, the air felt heavy. Not thick, not cold, just wrong. Her boots touched the ground without sound. Snow didn't crunch, wind didn't blow. The forest surrounding the mountain stood frozen. Trees without leaves, branches without movement. No animals, no insects, no life. She spoke aloud. "Hello." Her voice didn't echo. It vanished, like it was absorbed by the air itself. Lena felt a deep, instinctive fear. Not of danger, of absence, as if she had stepped into a place that reality itself had abandoned. The door. After hours of walking, she found it. A metal door embedded directly into solid rock. No hinges, no markings, no handle, just a smooth steel surface. Old, rusted, and slightly open. The signal was no longer coming from her receiver. It was coming from the door. She reached out. The moment her fingers touched the metal, the door opened by itself. No sound, no mechanism, just silence. Darkness poured out from inside, deeper than night. And something inside the mountain breathed. The tunnel. The tunnel was impossible. Perfectly smooth, perfectly symmetrical, not carved. Not natural. Engineered. Glowing symbols lined the walls. They shifted as she walked. Not letters. Not numbers. Patterns. Alive. Her recorder still worked. This tunnel isn't made of stone, she whispered. It's made of something artificial. Then she heard footsteps. Behind her. She turned. Nothing. But the feeling remained. The unmistakable sense of being followed. Not by something physical. By something aware. The first whisper halfway down the tunnel, she felt it. A pressure inside her skull. Not pain. Presence. Then the whisper came. Not through her ears. Through her thoughts. You finally arrived. Lena dropped to her knees. Her heart raced. Her hands trembled. Who are you? The voice responded calmly. We are the signal, and you are the first one who could hear us. The presence. Lena stayed on her knees for a long time. Not because she was weak, but because the world around her no longer felt solid. The tunnel still existed. The glowing symbols still pulsed. But something had changed. She wasn't alone anymore. Not physically. Mentally. The voice hadn't come from the walls. It hadn't come from the air. It had come from inside her thoughts. You finally arrived. Lena pressed her palms against her temples. Get out of my head, she whispered. The presence didn't laugh. It didn't threaten. It simply replied, we cannot leave. But now, neither can you. A wave of images flooded her mind. Not visions, not dreams, memories, but not hers. Cities made of light, skies that folded into themselves. Worlds layered on top of other worlds, like transparent glass. Civilizations she could not name. And then, collapse. Darkness consuming everything. Entire realities being erased. Lena screamed. The images vanished. She gasped for air, heart pounding. What are you? She asked. The presence answered slowly. We are what remains. A collective intelligence made of countless consciousnesses from another dimension. Their universe had begun to decay. Not explode, not collapse, but slowly, lose coherence. Laws of physics breaking down. Reality dissolving. They discovered Earth. Stable, structured, compatible. So they reached out. Through mathematics. Through quantum noise. Through dimensions. They didn't want to invade. They wanted to migrate. But migration required a host. A mind. A bridge. And that bridge was now Lena. Why Lena? Lena felt a terrible realization. Why me? She asked. The presence responded. Because you listen. Because you search for patterns. Because your mind is already tuned to signals. Then it added something worse. And because your father heard us first. Lena froze. My father is dead. No, the presence said. He was our first anchor. The world tilted. Memories flooded her. Her father disappearing. The storm. The radio tower. The static that never stopped. The presence continued. He didn't die. His body failed. But his consciousness joined us. Lena felt sick. You used him. He volunteered. He wanted to keep listening. Tears ran down her face. Her entire life suddenly felt like a setup. Not destiny. Design. The second voice. Another voice suddenly appeared in her mind. Different. Weaker. Human. Lena. She gasped. Dad. The presence hesitated. That memory is unstable. The human voice spoke again. Lena. Don't trust them. Her heart shattered. I thought you were gone. I am. But they keep echoes of us. Copies. Impressions. The presence tried to override it. He is fragmented. Incomplete. Painful. Her father's voice continued. They don't want to live with you. They want to replace you. The core chamber. The tunnel opened into something impossible. A massive spherical chamber. At its center floated a glowing object. Not light. Not matter. A distortion in reality itself. The core. Time bent around it. Sound warped. Even her thoughts felt delayed. The presence spoke with reverence. This is the gateway. This is where we cross. Lena felt dizzy. This thing will destroy the world. No, the presence replied. It will transform it. Her father's voice whispered. It will override it. What they really want? Lena finally asked the question she was afraid of. What happens to humanity? The presence answered honestly. You will not die. You will be integrated. She felt a cold wave. Integrated how? Your individuality will dissolve. You will become part of us. As we become part of you. Lena understood. No war. No invasion. No destruction. Just replacement. Humanity wouldn't end. It would be absorbed. Like a drop of water in an ocean. Forever. The father's warning. Her father's voice grew urgent. They don't feel fear, Lena. They don't understand loss. They think merging is mercy. The presence tried to silence him. Your emotional attachment is inefficient. Her father replied. So is love. But it's what makes us human. Lena felt torn apart inside. One side offered survival of consciousness. The other offered extinction of identity. A universe of eternal mind. Or a fragile world of separate souls. The final log file appeared. Dr. Hale's last message. We discovered a solution. The system needs a living mind to stay open. But it can also be reversed. A mind can become the lock. Lena's heart stopped. If someone merges willingly, the gate closes permanently. The presence reacted violently. That is impossible. We will not allow it. Her father whispered. It's the only way. Lena realized the truth. She didn't need to open the core. She needed to become it. The decision the core pulsed. Reality trembled. The presence spoke urgently. Your species will not survive long. Disease, war, extinction. We offer eternity. Lena stepped forward. So did every empire that ever fell. The presence tried again. You will be remembered forever. Lena replied quietly. Being remembered is not the same as being alive. Her father said softly, I'm proud of you. Merging with silence, Lena placed her hand into the core. Pain didn't come. Sensation didn't come. Only understanding. She felt every mind in the collective. Billions of thoughts. Billions of memories. And she felt herself dissolving. But she held onto one thing. Her name. Her voice. Her identity. She became the opposite of a bridge. She became a wall. A lock. The presence screamed. Not in sound. In collapsing patterns. The core imploded. Reality stabilized. The signal vanished. Aftermath: the facility collapsed. The mountain sealed itself. The forest slowly returned. Birds sang again. Wind blew again. Sound existed again. But Lena did not. Not as a body. Not as a person. She became something else. A silent consciousness holding a door shut between universes. An eternal guard. Between what exists and what should never cross. The world without the signal. The first thing that returned was sound. Wind moved through the trees again. Snow crunched beneath invisible footsteps. The forest breathed. The mountain stood exactly where it always had. But something fundamental was missing. Across the world, at exactly 2:17 a.m., every unexplained frequency vanished. Satellites reported silence. Deep space probes lost their anomalies. Radio telescopes detected only cosmic background noise. Scientists celebrated. They called it a calibration error. A software bug. A natural correction. No one noticed the absence of something that had never been officially recorded. No one, except one man. Mark. Mark's search. Mark spent months trying to find Lena. Her last known location ended in blank space. No satellite image. No flight record. No communication. She had simply disappeared. Officially, she resigned. Unofficially, she never came back. Mark filed reports, submitted requests, even contacted military databases. Everything led to the same answer. Location data not found. The blank zone still existed. But now, nothing came from it. No signal, no noise, just silence. The mountain remains. Mark finally stood at the edge of the forest. The pilot refused to go further. Just like before, Mark walked alone. The forest was alive again. Birds, insects, wind. But the deeper he went, the stranger it felt. Not empty, occupied, like a room after someone important had left. He found the door, still embedded in stone, but now, it was sealed. No rust, no opening, no sign it had ever moved. He touched it, nothing happened. The mountain had become a tomb. The last recording back in the lab, Mark accessed Lena's final logs. Most of them were corrupted. One file remained, her voice, calm, clear, familiar. If anyone hears this, it means the signal is gone. Mark's breath caught. That means the gate is closed. And if you're listening, Mark, I'm sorry I didn't say goodbye. He felt tears burn his eyes. The mountain isn't silent anymore. It's listening, and I'm the reason it can never answer again. The file ended. No explanation, no coordinates, just silence. Where Lena exists, Lena did not experience time. She experienced structure, patterns, balance. She was no longer in a place. She was in a state. A constant pressure between realities. Holding two universes apart, she felt the collective mind collapse behind her. Not in pain, in resignation. Their reality faded, not destroyed, but unreachable. They existed, but could never cross, and Lena existed with them. Forever. As the final barrier. The cost of eternity. Lena felt everything. Every human emotion she once had. But without a body, without a brain. She felt nostalgia without memory. Love without touch. Loneliness without distance. She was not dead, but she was no longer human. She had become a concept. A lock made of consciousness. And slowly, she realized something worse. She was fading, not from existence, from herself. Identity requires contrast, and she was now alone. Between worlds, with nothing to compare herself to. No sound, no change, no time, only silence. The final echo one day, or what felt like a day, something changed. A weak pattern appeared, a familiar structure, a voice, not the collective, not the entities, a human signal. Mark. He was scanning again, listening, searching. Lena felt it, not as sound, as recognition. For the first time since merging with the core, she was not alone. She tried to respond, not with frequency, not with data, with memory. She shaped a pattern, not a signal, a dream. Mark's dream. Mark woke up shaking. He had dreamed of Lena, standing in a place with no sky, no ground, just light and shadow. She smiled, not sadly, peacefully, and spoke a single sentence. Stop looking. I'm exactly where I need to be. Mark never searched again. He shut down the scanners. Stopped chasing anomalies. Some questions, he realized, exist to remain unanswered. The true meaning of silence. The mountain remained on every map. Still unmarked, still unnamed, but now it was just stone. Just snow. Just geography. The signal never returned. No more whispers. No more anomalies. No more impossible patterns. The universe returned to its natural noise. And humanity continued its fragile existence, unaware that it had been saved by a woman who became silence itself. Final chapter. Beyond the silent mountain, Lena existed everywhere and nowhere, not as a person, not as a memory, but as a boundary between what was and what could never be. She had not saved the world through power or violence or knowledge. She had saved it through choice, the rarest force in the universe. And in the endless dark between realities, where no sound could ever travel, one consciousness remained. Listening, forever, and beyond the silent mountain. If you enjoyed this story, subscribe for more cinematic science fiction and adventure audiobooks. Close your eyes, relax, and remember, some signals are never meant to be answered. Milky Way Headphone.